Hi everyone, my name is Anna Husted, and this is my case presentation over Good Will Hunting. So in this movie, we're going to be specifically focusing on the character Will Hunting, who is portrayed by Matt Damon. And in the movie, Will Hunting has a very high IQ. However, he is held back by the bad environment that he lives in. So he's on the brink of going to jail, and then he is discovered by a professor that works at the college that he is a janitor at. And under the condition that he works alongside with this professor, as well as attend therapy sessions with a therapist named Sean McGurr, who is portrayed by Robin Williams, he's guaranteed to stay out of jail. So the environment that Will grows up in, it's very poor. There's a very low standard of living. There's no real motivation to work towards a better place or a better life. And then Will's character specifically is very intelligent. However, he did have a very bad childhood. And as we're going to talk about later on, he cannot hold a steady relationship. So I came up with a long list of diagnoses for Will Hunting, which include PTSD, inferiority complex, antisocial personality disorder, avoidant personality, but today we're just going to be focusing on borderline personality disorder. So, borderline personality disorder is a mental disorder in which the individual fails to regulate or maintain emotions, relationships, or a consistent personality. So, individuals that have borderline personality disorder often display reckless, impulsive, and or dangerous behaviors. So when I looked at the symptoms of BPD, I decided to focus on 9 key symptoms that Good Will Hunting kind of portrays throughout the movie. So the first 2 kind of play in part with each other. It is fear of abandonment in unstable or toxic relationships. So both of these kind of play in part with this relationship with the woman named Skylar. So he feels that he is not good enough for Skylar and pushes her away before she can. And this also comes in reference with his therapist, Sean, who eventually exclaims that to the professor that ended up saving Will, how he pushes people away before they can abandon him. That kind of plays in part with his PTSD, with his traumatic childhood. And it's kind of a defense mechanism and part of how he protects himself from dangerous relationships. Another symptom is emotional whiplash. So an example of this is a scene in the movie where he is seen very calmly, very happily watching a baseball game, and then a couple minutes later he is seen assaulting a police officer and some kids on the street he saw walking by. Another one is unclear or an unstable self-image. So this can be seen in a low self-image or cockiness. Will mostly exuberates cockiness. A scene about this is in the bar. He shows up a man who was trying to flirt with Skylar originally by quoting a bunch of really smart quotes from a bunch of textbooks, things like that. He has inappropriate explosive behavior, such as breaking up with Skylar, saying he doesn't love her, leaving in the middle of the day right after they just had sex and they just had a wonderful night. He's very impulsive, so at the very end of the movie, he gets up and he leaves and he follows Skylar to New York without telling anyone. And then one symptom that I felt he did not exuberate at all was he had no thoughts of suicide, although that is a very common trait of someone with borderline personality disorder. So I decided to include all of the different treatment options for the different diagnoses that I had for Will, however, focusing on borderline personality disorder itself. Talk therapy really helped Will throughout the movie. He really gained a strong relationship with his therapist, Sean, but I feel medication would really help in his part. I don't think hospitalization would help because he is a very well functioning member of society. So ethically, there are no controversies behind the treatment of these mental illnesses because they're all very broad, kind of basic talk therapies, medications, and possibly hospitalization. However, situationally, I feel like there is a societal kind of cultural barrier from where he lives because his entire society is very tough boy image. They don't really talk about their feelings or emotions a lot. I feel this movie has a very accurate portrayal of mental health issues. I feel like there's no sugarcoating or under exaggerations. It doesn't show like a sexy therapist who seduces Will Hunting or anything like that. It's really just broken people that are trying to make sense of a complex world. To me personally, it really helped me have a better understanding of different types of personality and mental disorders.